Ross Martin inside Carolina. Sam, obviously the NIL stuff, how are you approaching it? You're one of the more, I guess, visible players in the ACC and at UNC. How are you approaching the NIL stuff? Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely something, I've thought a lot about. I hired a marketing team, so we have a marketing team working on my behalf. They've done a good job kind of lifting the weight off my shoulders. The school's been very supportive. I think the main thing for me is I just want to make sure I keep the main thing, and that's winning football games. Obviously, you still want to take advantage of the opportunity you have. So, I've done some things, partnered with a charity called Table in Chapel Hill. We deliver meals to underprivileged kids in Chapel Hill. So that's kind of something I did. That was my first partnership. I'm just kind of looking for more opportunities, just things where I can involve my teammates and kind of give them some opportunities as well. So, I think there's a good place for it. I just want to make sure as a team we keep the main thing, and that's winning football games.
Sam, stay on the left side there in the third row.
Bob Holliday, WRL.com. Sam, you had excellent chemistry with both Javonte and Michael throwing the football. It's almost like an extension of your running game, the short passes to the backs. You had 2 years to develop that. Now time's very compressed. Can you bring us up to date on the chemistry and with Ty and the other running backs? And are you going to be able to throw the ball as effectively to the backs this year as you were last year?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Our backs were unbelievable out of the backfield last year. I think the backs we have in that room now, they study a lot of film. I watch a lot of film with those guys. So I think they have a really good understanding of what we're kind of looking for out of the backfield in the passing game. They've worked so hard at it all offseason. This is probably the best offseason I've been a part of since I've been here. The guys have worked so hard. Our strength staff does an unbelievable job. And that running back room, they're so hungry. They're hungry every single day. They're competing with each other. They all have a chip on the shoulder because everyone's still talking about Michael and Javonte. No one's talking about the guys we actually have in that running back room. So, they have a chip on their shoulder. They're excited to kind of go out there and show what they have this year. So I'm excited for them.
Sam, we'll go all the way to the back in the left. She'll stand up so she can identify.
Alyssa Ray, WNCN. You lost a lot of production on offense. What have you seen from those guys in practice, trying to fill those roles of the guys that went to the NFL?
Yeah, they certainly know the situation and the role they have to fill. But like I said, all those guys, even in the running back room and the receiver room, they have a really big chip on their shoulder, and they're kind of tired of everyone talking about who we lost instead of talking about who we got coming in this year. So they've worked so hard. I've spent so much time for them. It's been a good challenge for me just to try to get those guys developed into the players we want to see this fall, and they've done a really good job of that. They've worked so hard. I'm just really excited for those guys to get out there this year and show everybody what they got, because they're really talented players, and no one's really giving them the credit they deserve. And they haven't done anything yet, but I know they will this fall, so I'm super excited for them.
Sam, hard left at about the fifth row. Gentlemen, please stand. Thank you.
Cameron Devereaux, Demon Deacon Digest, focusing on the wide receiver room, obviously losing Daz and Diami. Can you shed a little bit of light on the positives and maybe growing pains that you've seen in that room, and also just what are the expectations looking at that room going forward?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Diami and Daz are both amazing players for us. A lot of production. I think a lot of those guys in the room have been there for a couple of years. They kind of learned from Diami and Daz and saw the way they worked. Diami and Daz are two of the hardest working players on our team, so they kind of followed their lead and kind of picked up their same work ethic and their same work habits. And I've spent so much time with those guys, and those guys, they look as good as ever. So I feel really good about that room. I think everyone saw what Josh Downs could do in the bowl game. I think he's going to be a really good player for us. We got Bo Krause coming back, who's been a really good player for us. We got another couple other guys, Antoine Green, Chaffrey Brown, Emery Simmons, a lot of guys that can play in that room. So, same thing like I just said. Those guys have a huge chip on their shoulder just because everyone's still talking about Diami and Daz. No one's talking about the guys in that room, and they're all super talented guys. So, they've worked so hard. Coach Galloway does a really good job with those guys in that room. So I'm excited to get out there with them this year.
Sam, your last question will come from the right side, the very back. Just follow the aisle all the way up. Gentleman right here raising his hand.
Hey, Sam. Noah Monroe from the Daily Tar Heel. In high school, I went to Concord High School, and I remember watching you when you were on Sun Valley, and you had all this hype surrounding you as you were committed to Florida State. And now 3 years later, you have just even more hype surrounding you. You're on the Davey O'Brien and Maxwell watch list. You're in the Heisman conversation. Just how are you keeping your head level with all this hype?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I'm definitely just blessed by God in the position that I'm in. You know, it's something I dreamed of when I was a kid to kind of be in this position. So it's not something I take for granted. You know, there's been so many people that's kind of helped me get to where I am today. So that's kind of just relying on my faith and relying on my people, just trying to stay true to who I am. And no matter where I go in life, just try to be the same person, try to be who I am on a daily basis. You know, I don't get too caught up in what other people are saying. You know, I'm just worried about what I think of myself and what the people close to me say. So that's kind of the mindset of our team as well. You know, we've had a lot of hype as a team, and you know, the main thing, you know, we try to tell our guys is, even if people are saying we're going to win 10, 12 games, it's not just going to happen. We still got to put the work in every single day, prepare every week like it's the biggest game of our life. So that's just kind of our mindset personally and as a team.